Hello, America. Dave Hodges here, host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a look at some reports that are out there, and I've compiled a composite, and it is doom and gloom. But I also think we need to plan for the rainy day, and that's the spirit of which I present this. How much of this is accurate to the letter, I don't think anyone can say for sure, but it does reflect what I've been telling you. With the Strait of Hormuz being what it's been, we can expect real problems here. Secondly, the government will ration to preserve itself, particularly its military. And what will those supplies be? Well, that's what we're going to focus on because that's where your shortages will first appear. And by shortages, I might be kind because it could be you can't get these things at all at any price. We're brought to you by My Patriot Supply. Very quickly here. Yeah, My Patriot Supply is as good as it gets. They're the best storable food, high quality, tastes great, no preservatives, no GMOs, 2,000 calories per day. Remember, you're eating to survive, so the calories are important. And lots of variety in the food. It lasts 25 years, great discounts available. And now is the time why you can still get it shipped to you. Go to preparewithdave.com. That's preparewithdave.com. All right, let's take a look at what's circulating. And I've done a composite here of things that I've been told, things that I am reading, things that I am hearing. There's estimates out there. We have 30, 45, 60, but not 90 days of oil left. The projections differ, but I agree. We're not going to spend our oil reserves down because the military will need that. Just think what China would do if they knew our oil reserves were depleted. So, in some point in time, the oil reserves available to the public will not be available. Now, the government's going to allay the fears and say, hey, we got this many days of oil reserve. But what they're not telling you is how they're going to ration the back end of that. And they can't. They don't want to induce panic. They don't want to induce panic buying. I think it's going to occur anyway. I thought long and hard. If I come out with this, will I be inducing panic? I don't think so because this is coming anyway. And there's too much out there right now for there not to be some credibility to the concern about shortages. Okay. A lot of people are really angry with Trump. I am to the degree that he got suckered into this war by Netanyahu. It was a war that should never have occurred. I don't buy the weapons of mass destruction. We've been lied too many times about this. There are ulterior motives out there. One motive I've heard is kind of interesting is that the invasion here going after Iran is because they want to eliminate the Iranian threat against President Trump's life. And I do subscribe to that notion that they were involved in Butler. I think there's absolutely no question about that. That remains my opinion. But I will tell you this. Do you think that the threat of Iranian actions against this president and executive action, do you think they're increased or decreased by this war? See, this is where I get into where the logic doesn't hold up. We're selling most of our gas and oil to Europe. And that's because we're worried that Putin might get aggressive in Eastern Europe. And we're not stopping that drain on our oil supplies there. The drain is going to stop with you. And we're going to see food rationing, water rationing, and fuel rationing. And fuel rationing as it relates to food rationing, because we have the 3,000-mile salad in America. This is all going to be shipped. Well, if you can't ship it, you can't get it, you can't sell it, you can't eat it. It's going to be a problem. So this is why I start off saying, hey, My Patriot Supply, get your food in order now. You need to also start stockpiling water, and you need to get preservative pills that you can put in the water to maintain the water so it doesn't grow algae and make it unusable. So I would say stock up on food, fuel, medicine as best you can, because medicine gets shipped as well. And I guarantee this is going to be a topic of discussion with Xi Jinping and President Trump in the ongoing conference. Um, what about your relatives? Are they going to be set? You got elderly relatives. They may be totally unaware that this danger has come. Um, I'm reminded of the book of Revelations. I think it's 14:7, where it says, "For the hour of judgment is here." The hour of judgment is here, people. The consequences of this war are being felt. And I got to tell you, too, China's in a difficult position as well. I'll tell you, China's freaking out over two things. Number one, the system they use for anti-aircraft is the Russian system, and it ain't working in Iran. They're really worried about this. They have to be. The second thing is Chinese oil supply is in jeopardy as well. Are they getting some? Yes. In fact, the U.S. is actually helping to facilitate that. But are they getting what they need? The answer would be no. And particularly now that Venezuela is under the control of the United States, at least with their oil supplies, they've lost that supply. So I guarantee this is going to be part of the negotiations between Xi and Trump. But China needs this resolved in Iran as well. And I'm hopeful that the two leaders can combine to end this crisis. But I almost think that if you peel this onion of leadership back 3 levels, 4 levels, 5 levels, 10 levels, you're still going to get radicalization from the RRGC. They're going to execute all of the protesters. They're doing this now. I don't, I'm not sure how you stop the craziness in the government in Iran, and it is lunacy. See, one thing we say about China, they're a lot different than we are in their governmental structure, but they have a degree of common sense and they're not suicidal. I can't say that with Iran, and this goes back to the fact it's a theocracy. A theocracy, religion, government, one and the same, no separation. And in their religion, the Mahdi's come into play. And I've mentioned this before. They would like to see end days because it brings on their version of a savior, and that's the Mahdi's. How much of that is adhered to by the IRGC current leadership? I don't know. But I do know with the primary leadership that was taken out by Israel in the early days of the war, they were very much tied into this. They talked about it frequently. Do the people accept it? No. And 90% of the people in Iran are unhappy. And you've heard the interviews I've done with Iranians that talk about this. They're very unhappy. Do they have the means to carry out a successful revolution? The answer is no. Um, Trump is really hesitating, though, to really go full bore after Iran forcing their entire civilization to collapse because of the innocent people that are going to die. He does not, and see, you say, well, Dave, you've been against Trump in this war. Yes, but still, the man is the man, and he does not like to see unnecessary casualties. And that's been clear through both of his terms as president. And he's got to be struggling with this. And that's why I think that this conference in China could actually really save the world, certainly save our country. Because when we're looking at supply deficits in America, they're beginning to show and they will accelerate. This won't be, it's going to be a slow progression. It'll be a slow progression till things fall off the cliff and you can't get what you need. So, guns, gold, ammo, natural medicine, food, you got to get the food, definitely got to get the food. Ways to treat the water. You need to hunker down to learn how to survive. And the other thing I'm going to warn you about too is, Doug Thornton, former DHS, in his training with DHS, he was told the most vulnerable part of America is the grid. And I think you need to think about how you're going to survive without the grid for some time. Because I do believe Iran will make a move on the grid. In fact, if we look at the oil refineries, Texas, New Orleans, Oklahoma, mysteriously going up in flames. Who's doing that? Some people do hate Israel and they're saying Israel's doing it. I don't think that's true. Israel's got America where they want us, and that's fighting their war for them. So I don't believe they're involved in this. This is Iranian terrorism, courtesy of our open borders where we let people like this in. All immigrants? Of course not. Not even most of them, not even half of them. A small portion, but a small portion can do a lot of damage. And you've heard my interviews with Casey Fleming, consultant to the White House, to the Pentagon. And Casey has told about the thousands of Chinese spec ops that are here. If we can't resolve an agreement with China regarding Iran, and Iran begins to act on the grid, and America goes to take out, as Trump said, the Iranian civilization, I would expect these Chinese spec ops to come into play. And who let them in? Biden, the Biden administration. We've shown you the photos. We've interviewed the Border Patrol people. We have shown you this was deliberate. I don't know how this isn't treason, but that may be water under the bridge. Right now, you need to plan for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. I'm Dave Hodges. This is the Common Sense Show. And if you've not checked us out, we've got new entries up on our TV show, thecommonsenseshow.tv. Also, if you have not signed up for our newsletter, go to our website and click on the newsletter link, put in your email, and you'll get yours tomorrow. That's everything that we've done in the previous 24 hours. Thanks again for joining us.